10 things to avoid when traveling in Europe. Picture this. You've just landed in Europe, ready for adventure. But instead of smooth sailing, your trip hits a snag, maybe even multiple snags, because of easily avoidable mistakes. Ouch! Sounds like a travel nightmare, right? Well, I'm here to make sure that doesn't happen. Today, we're talking about the top 10 blunders to avoid on your European vacation. Trust me, dodging these pitfalls can be the difference between a good trip and an absolutely unforgettable one. Let's dive in. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, Dave, not insurance again, hear me out. I know, it's not the most glamorous part of planning a trip. But trust me, travel insurance is your best friend on the road. Think of it as a safety net for those unexpected hiccups that life throws your way. From a stolen wallet in Rome to a missed flight due to a sudden strike in Paris, travel insurance has your back. And hey, if you're lucky enough to avoid any mishaps, consider it money well spent for peace of mind. When choosing a policy, make sure it covers medical emergencies, trip cancellations, lost luggage, and any adventure activities you might be planning. Remember, a little preparation can save you a whole lot of trouble down the road. One of the biggest mistakes travelers make, especially first-timers to Europe, is overpacking. Remember those cobblestone streets and charming but often cramped hotel rooms? Hauling around a heavy suitcase can quickly turn your dream trip into a logistical nightmare. Trust me. You'll thank me later when you're not lugging that monster suitcase up 5 flights of stairs in a charming old building with no elevator. So how do you pack light? Start by laying out everything you need, then cut it in half. Choose versatile clothing items that can be mixed and matched, and don't forget a small, foldable bag for day trips. Remember, they have laundry facilities in Europe too. Packing light is all about freedom. It's about being able to navigate those narrow alleyways with ease, hop on and off trains without breaking a sweat, and having room in your suitcase for souvenirs. Plus, you'll be amazed at how liberating it feels to travel with less. Alright, so you've packed your light bag and you're insured up to the wazoo, great. But hold on, before you go flashing that peace sign or plopping down at any old table, let's talk about respecting local customs. Europe is a tapestry of different cultures, each with its own unique etiquette. What might be perfectly normal in one country could raise eyebrows in another. Take Italy, for example. You'll want to address people using signore or signora as a sign of respect, especially if they're older than you. And while we Americans love our ice-cold drinks, in many European countries, ordering a Coke with ice is a big no-no. They believe it dilutes the flavor. Speaking of drinks, did you know that in some countries like Hungary, it's considered rude to clink glasses when toasting with beer? Yep. Little cultural quirks like these are everywhere. Now, I'm not saying you need to become an expert in every country's customs overnight, but a little effort goes a long way. Do some research before you go. Observe how the locals interact. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Most people are happy to share their customs with curious travelers. Remember, traveling is about more than just seeing the sights. It's about experiencing a new culture and way of life. And that starts with showing respect for the local customs. Let's talk about food, shall we? Now, I know those tourist trap restaurants with the giant menus in 5 languages can be tempting, but trust me, venturing beyond the tourist zones to discover local eateries is where it's at. Not only will you experience authentic flavors and dishes, but you'll often find the prices are much friendlier on your wallet. Think about it. Where do you eat at home? Probably not the chain restaurants right next to the big attractions. Look for small family-run restaurants tucked away on side streets. These are the places where locals go for a hearty meal and a taste of home. Don't be intimidated if you don't recognize anything on the menu. That's part of the adventure. Ask the server for their recommendations, or better yet, point to something that looks delicious at a neighboring table. And hey, if you're feeling really adventurous, try a menu del dia, a set menu offering a multi-course meal at a fixed price. It's a fantastic way to sample local specialties without breaking the bank. Remember, food is an integral part of any culture. By embracing local eateries, you're not just satisfying your hunger, you're engaging with the local community and savoring the true flavors of your destination. Now let's talk about train travel, a European adventure in itself. But before you hop aboard that high-speed rail to Paris or that scenic train ride through the Alps, there's a crucial step you can't afford to skip: validating your ticket. I know, it might seem like an unnecessary hassle, but trust me, it's a mistake you only want to make once. See, in many European countries, you need to validate your train ticket before boarding, even if you've already purchased it. This usually involves popping it into a small machine on the platform that stamps the date and time on your ticket. It might seem strange, but it's simply a way to prevent fraud and ensure everyone's paying their fair share for the ride. Skipping this crucial step could result in a hefty fine, sometimes as high as 50 euros or more, if you're caught by the conductor. And believe me, those conductors are eagle-eyed and they know all the tricks. So save yourself the stress and the potential fine. Take a moment to validate your ticket before boarding. You'll find these little validation machines scattered around the platforms. They're usually bright yellow or orange and pretty hard to miss. Remember, a little validation goes a long way in ensuring a smooth and enjoyable train journey through Europe. Ah, Europe, a continent brimming with centuries of history, art, and culture. It's tempting to cram in as much as possible. But trust me, overplanning can be a real travel buzzkill. You see, rushing from one landmark to the next leaves you feeling like you're on a conveyor belt, not truly experiencing the soul of a place. Remember, travel is about savoring the journey, not just checking off a list. Instead of rigidly sticking to a minute-by-minute itinerary, build in some flexibility. Leave room for serendipitous encounters like stumbling upon a charming local market or getting drawn into a lively street festival. Allow yourself time to wander, get lost in the backstreets, and soak up the ambiance. Linger at a sidewalk cafe, sip your espresso, and watch the world go by. These unscripted moments often become the most cherished travel memories. Remember, it's better to truly experience a few places than to just breeze through a dozen. Slow down, embrace the unexpected, and let Europe unfold before you at its own pace. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Dave, I'm no polyglot. I can barely order a coffee in English, let alone in Finnish. And you know what? That's perfectly okay. You don't need to be fluent in every language to connect with the locals. Even a few basic phrases can work wonders. A simple bonjour in France, gracias in Spain, or danke in Germany shows respect and a willingness to engage with the local culture. Think about it. Wouldn't you be charmed if a visitor to your hometown made an effort to speak a little of your language? It's about showing that you care enough to try. Plus, attempting the local lingo often leads to humorous encounters and heartwarming interactions. Locals are generally patient and appreciative of your efforts, and you might even pick up a few new words along the way. Remember, travel is all about bridging cultural divides, and a little linguistic effort goes a long way in making those connections. Europe is generally a very safe place to travel, but just like anywhere else, it's wise to be aware of your surroundings and take some basic precautions. Pickpocketing can be an issue, especially in crowded tourist areas. Keep your valuables secure, wear your money belt or neck pouch, and be mindful of your belongings, especially in crowded markets or on public transportation. It's also wise to be cautious about leaving your belongings unattended in cafes or restaurants. If you're traveling with a backpack, consider using a lock to secure it to your chair or table leg when you step away. Be wary of scams, especially those targeting tourists. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Trust your instincts and don't be afraid to say no or walk away from a situation that feels off. And here's a tip that's especially important for solo travelers. Share your itinerary with a friend or family member back home. Let them know your plans and expected whereabouts. It's always good to have someone in the loop, just in case. Remember, a little common sense goes a long way in keeping you safe and ensuring a smooth and enjoyable trip. Now let's talk about money. While credit cards are widely accepted in many parts of Europe, it's essential to have some local currency on hand. Not every shop or restaurant, especially those smaller mom-and-pop places that really give you a taste of Europe, will accept plastic. Imagine finding the perfect antique souvenir in a charming Parisian market, or stopping for a quick espresso at a bustling Roman cafe, only to realize you can't pay. Having some euros in your pocket can save you the trouble of searching for an ATM in a pinch. Plus, using cash for smaller purchases can help you stick to your budget and avoid those pesky foreign transaction fees some credit cards charge. Remember, when it comes to currency exchange, it's generally best to do it once you arrive in Europe, either at an ATM or a reputable exchange bureau. Avoid exchanging money at airports or train stations, as they often have less favorable rates. Finally, never underestimate the power of good travel research. Think of it as packing your mental suitcase with knowledge and inspiration. Before you go, take some time to learn about the destinations you'll be visiting. Read up on the history, culture, and local customs. Explore different neighborhoods, seek out hidden gems, and discover those off-the-beaten-path experiences that make travel so rewarding. A little research can go a long way in enriching your trip. By planning ahead, you can make the most of your time and budget, avoid crowds, and ensure you don't miss out on any must-see sites or experiences. Remember, a well-informed traveler is a happy traveler. Use guidebooks, travel blogs, and online resources to create a personalized itinerary that suits your interests and travel style. And there you have it, the 10 things to avoid when traveling in Europe. I hope these tips help you have a fantastic and stress-free trip. If you have any travel tips or experiences to share, please leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on our latest travel tips and adventures. Thanks for watching, and happy travels!